This morning we'll be talking about Horry County's probate court. After you meet our guest, you judge whether or not we're in good hands. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Conway Medical's Wellness and Fitness Center. We're focused on Horry County's probate court, and we're visiting with the Honorable Deirdre Edmonds, our probate judge. Good morning, Deirdre.
Good morning,
do you
Greg.
mind if I call you Deirdre?
No, please do.
I suppose the Honorable, I guess normally you're wearing a black robe, as we talked about earlier this morning.
Usually at work I am.
It's nice to see you out of a robe. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, what about this Conway Medical Wellness and Fitness Center? It's incredible.
You know, this is the first time I've been here.
Is that right?
It is, and it's so nice.
Early
I
on
just
a
can't
Friday
believe how
morning.
big it is, and all this equipment. It would be nice to have an opportunity to come out and exercise a little bit.
Did you imagine you'd wake up this morning and be sitting in a green chair on a basketball court?
Oh.
No, you nor me. That's right. And I know you're getting over a little cough right now.
Yes,
so,
I am.
It's tough to get up early in the morning to get in here, but thank you very much for coming in. You know,
Thanks
we think
for having
about
me.
The probate court. That's a very foreign term to a lot of folks. Even that word probate, what exactly does that mean?
Well, probate is a term that we use to talk about administering or handling a person's estate, a person's property after they pass away.
Okay.
And it's a procedure that the families have to go through in order to take property that a person owned at the time of their death and get that property out of that person's name and get it retitled and distributed to the proper heirs of the estate or to the people designated under their last will and testament.
Mm-hmm. So even if folks have a really proper will and everything, they're still going to have to
in
come
most
through
cases.
Right.
You know, and it really depends on the extent of their property, what they own, and how they own that property, whether it's real property, whether it's assets in a bank or a savings account, stocks, bonds, investments. It depends on how they own that property, whether it's in their name, whether it's with right of survivorship, whether there's a beneficiary designation, and then who's going to get that property. And some property may pass without having to come through the probate court.
Really?
But yes.
What are some examples of that?
Well, like your life insurance, for example.
Uh-huh.
If you name an individual, a trust, as a beneficiary of your life insurance policy, then that doesn't actually have to come through the probate court for your beneficiaries to get that property.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an account at the bank and it's with right of survivorship, then we call that non-probate property. And it doesn't actually pass under your will, or it doesn't pass by intestacy through the probate administration process. So a person at the time of their death may have what we call probate property, which is going to pass under their last will and testament or by intestacy and must be administered through the probate court. And they may also have non-probate property that you don't have to administer through the probate court after they pass away.
There are instances, though, where a life insurance policy may go through probate court.
It may, because sometimes you may name beneficiaries on the policy and your beneficiary may have predeceased you, or maybe you've named a spouse as your beneficiary and you're now divorced from your spouse, and there's not a contingent beneficiary on the policy, or maybe you've named your estate as your beneficiary, and then it would come through your estate and be administered through the probate court.
Mm-hmm. So oftentimes, and I know you're not giving legal advice here or even insurance advice, so oftentimes folks go use their insurance policies to take care of any debts associated as opposed to going to an individual. And I guess if some of it dealt with real property or paying off mortgages or otherwise, that would be an instance where it really would need to come through you all.
And oftentimes people will have a small insurance policy and they will want to use that maybe to pay for their funeral expense.
Right.
And having that payable to the estate allows those funds to be accessible by your personal representative, who can then use those funds to pay your funeral expenses or whatever estate administration expenses you may have. Oftentimes the families will use the policy even if it's payable to a beneficiary and then use that to pay the funeral expenses, but they're not obligated to do that. Making it payable to the estate gives the estate, the personal representative, access to those funds to use it for whatever they need.
What's a personal representative?
A personal representative is the person that is appointed through the probate court, who we give the legal authority to handle a person's affairs after they pass away. And they're the ones that are responsible for collecting all of your assets, for paying any creditor claims or debts of the estate, and then for distributing those assets to the persons entitled to the property after your death.
Okay.
They also represent the estate in any legal proceedings in the event that there's some type of claim that the estate or that the deceased person had against a third party as a result of the death or even before death. So they may continue litigation that the person was involved in. They may deal with the mortgages and the real estate and all the assets and settle any claims, bring any claims that they may need to, and then collect those assets and distribute them at the end of the administration.
That's very serious stuff, Deirdre. I mean, we're really talking about very important issues. You know, you
Certainly.
think if a viewer's crafting a will, can they decide who their personal representative will be, or
Absolutely.
does the probate court decide that?
Well, if a person has a last will and testament, then that's one of the things that they're going to do in their will. They're going to designate and nominate who they want to be the personal representative. Often, though, when people die without a will, it's going to be left up to the probate court. Our state law sets forth a list of people that have priority to be appointed in the event that there's not a will. Oftentimes, if you have a person that has several children, they may have equal priority. And if they can't agree on who's going to be appointed, then the matter becomes a contested issue before the probate judge.
Boy, wow. Again, very serious matters, and I guess it truly is important to work hard to make sure folks craft a will and keep it up to date.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's extremely important. We have many people that come in and they either try to prepare the will themselves. Maybe they got a form from an office supply company. Maybe they got something off the internet. Or maybe they use somebody else's will and they just whited out the names and they put their names in there, and they end up creating so many problems when they do that. Sometimes I think it's better to even die without a will than to take it upon yourself to try to do it yourself. It is a legal document. It's going to have some legal effect after your death, and it's important to take it seriously and have it properly executed and drafted for you by a professional.
So if someone couldn't go to a website, for instance, they couldn't even go to the Horry County Probate Court website and find sample wills or otherwise. This is really something that you stay away from that and make sure that attorneys or other professionals are involved in crafting.
That's exactly right. We have all the probate forms necessary to administer an estate on our website. These are forms that are adopted by our Supreme Court for use in the probate court. But we don't have wills on our website. Now, we also do have on our website the South Carolina form for a healthcare power of attorney.
Good.
That is available on the website. That's a form that's set forth in our Code of Laws. So we have the healthcare power of attorney on the website, and we also have the living will on our website, because those are statutory forms that were adopted by our legislature.
Good.
A last will and testament needs to be specially drafted for a person by an attorney. And so we don't offer those on the website.
Sure, that's good. Speaking of that, if a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school, what is the website, and is there a good phone number that someone could learn more about the Horry County Probate Court?
Certainly. Our office is located in Conway. We also have an office in South Strand and in the Little River area. The Conway number is 915-5370.
Okay.
We have a website. It is under the Horry County Government/Probate Court.
Okay, so is that the horrycounty.org/probate court? Good,
yes.
Good. And it's got a lot of great frequently asked questions on there. I went on there earlier this morning and saw some tremendous stuff on there. I want to give folks, if they don't have access to the internet, though, you've got, I'm sure, a number of folks in the office that could help answer questions, and the 843-915-5370 number is probably a very good one to call.
That is.
Are you originally from the area, Deirdre?
No, I'm not. I'm originally from Aiken County.
Okay, so you're a Palmetto State native, though.
I am a South Carolinian at heart, and I've been in Horry County for about 20 years.
Great. What brought you here?
Job. When I got out of law school, I came to work in Horry County for the Bellamy Law Firm, straight out of law school. And, you know, Greg, it was 20 years ago next month that I graduated from law school. So
is that right?
It's amazing. It goes very fast.
That is amazing. And very quickly that the Bellamy Law Firm brought you down. And I think I saw you spent about a decade there.
I did. I spent 10 years with the Bellamy Law Firm. And then I moved down on the south end of the beach with Kathleen D'Angelo and practiced with her for about 4.5 years before I ran for probate judge.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Catherine Cook D'Angelo's got a great practice down
there. She does.
Yeah.
Focuses a lot on probate and elder law, and that's what I did a good bit of at the Bellamy Law Firm, so it was a good fit for me.
I saw her get sworn into the bar of the U.S. Supreme Court on a trip when Chief Justice Toll had folks up, a big group of women attorneys. I went
Yes.
up with an old friend of mine to see her get sworn in. It was the same day Catherine was sworn in. It was a very nice ceremony, and Chief Justice Toll does this great event and getting a big group of female attorneys together to make the trip to Washington, and it's a great idea. I hope a lot of states do that.
Yes.
I hope they do. So, of course, had you thought about in growing up in Aiken County, Deirdre, that you'd wanted to, A, be an attorney or ever even contemplated being a judge?
I never contemplated being a judge,
Wow.
no. It was when I was in college that I finally decided I did want to go into law.
Right.
And so I began to focus in that area, and once I graduated from undergraduate at USC, then I went on to law school.
You went straight into law school?
Straight into law school
Yeah.
from college. Yes, I did.
What is law school like for viewers who may not be familiar with it? What do you learn there?
Well, you know, law school gives you such a big background in the area of law. You don't focus on one area at all.
Oh, really?
You just get a broad background. You go and study constitutional law and criminal law and civil procedure and real property and trust and estates and evidence and rules of professional conduct and so forth. It is a big, broad background in the area of law. And it teaches you not only how to learn about the law, and it teaches you a lot of individual things about the law, but it teaches you then how to research the law and how to go forward after you practice law and after you graduate from law school, and then go into the practice of law and go forward and research, prepare legal documents and pleadings and things of that nature. It's not as hands-on sometimes as far as the practice of law that maybe I think it could be, but it gives you that broad background in the legal field of learning many different things. I mean, I was amazed when I went to law school that they had so many laws about so many different things. It was astounding, really, to walk into that law school and see all the books written on laws.
A very broad education then.
Very.
I remember my grandmother, who practiced law for many years, referred to it as a gentleman's education, much like taking Latin in school, something that really...
I took Latin in
Is that
college.
right?
Yes, I did.
In college, wow.
Yes, I did.
Something that folks needed to do to get a little broad understanding
Absolutely.
in Latin, in that instance, of the English language itself, and in law school of really so many different aspects. You talked about them when you mentioned contracts or real property, or when folks hear civil procedure, that may not mean much to them, but it surely impacts their daily life.
Absolutely it does.
It really does. And probate, of course, now, not necessarily their daily life, but surely will impact them at their death.
It will, and it impacts so many people when they don't think it will, and when they don't expect it. We have many people come to the probate court who are unprepared, who are there because of some accident or sudden illness, a sudden death, and they find themselves in the probate court. And they didn't think about it ahead of time. And there are minor children involved, and there are lawsuits to be filed, and they don't understand the complexities that are involved in what they're now facing, having to come through the probate court. We try very hard to make it simple for them. We try to guide them without giving them legal advice, but guide them through the procedures of opening an estate and getting started with the probate and doing the inventory. But if people would sit down and consider their family situation and just the fact that they may have children who are minors, they may not think that they have very much property at all. Maybe they don't.
Right.
But if they happen to be involved in an accident that leads to a death, then you do have a claim. You have an estate that you may not thought you had.
Right.
And just making some few preparations to prepare for either your death or your incapacity can make it much easier for your family.
That's very important. How often should folks update their will, Deirdre?
People should take out their will and look at it at least on an annual or every couple of years. If they have life-changing events, such as a marriage, a divorce, the birth of minor children, or maybe they have minor children and they all become adults, or they inherit property, they receive property that they didn't expect, then they certainly should sit down and look at it and decide whether what they have suits their current situation, and if not, they need to update their will.
Good point. And so oftentimes, and again, turning to, you can do research on the internet, for instance, to find out about good legal professionals that really specialize in an area. I think I'd use the internet to find out about an irrevocable life insurance trust, which is a vehicle actually someone in your former law firm, Eddie Bowers, helped me craft and did some great work on, and he and Claudia, that whole crew. It's amazing how something like that can really make you think not only about your own life, but obviously about your death, about your family, and about your children, and really some big issues that come up. What about how long would it take someone to, do you say, probate your estate?
Right.
How long does that happen
on average? It's going to take about 8 or 9 months.
Is that right?
Now, that's on average. I mean, and that's for a relatively simple estate that is uncontested, that we go through the creditor's claim period, which is an 8-month period. You may have estates that have contested issues. They have people fighting over the will, or they have claims that creditors file, and you have to dispose of those claims. Many estates are going to take a lot longer. On average, if it's uncontested and you don't have a lot of claims that you're going to have to deal with, and everybody gets along,
right,
then you're looking at probably 9 to 10 months on average.
Does that happen pretty regularly?
Well, you know, we have a lot of estates open in Horry County. We have many people that are relocating to this area, and we open many, many estates. The percentage of those that just go through without any problem is probably at least half of them.
Is that right? Good,
Yeah,
good.
I think so. I think so. But then we have others that there's fighting among family members, or you have third parties coming in fighting over the estate.
Right.
Or maybe the person was involved in litigation even before they died.
Oh, boy.
Or there's litigation as a result of the death. So we do have quite a few estates that end up taking much longer because of the litigation. Or maybe you have an estate that's quite a large estate that is a taxable estate. If you have a taxable estate, you're not going to be able to close it until you file the estate tax return, and then the IRS signs off on the return. They approve your return. So you're probably talking at least 2 or 3 years on a taxable estate.
The IRS and the State Department of Revenue oftentimes interface with your office a good bit.
Yes, they do.
What's the longest amount of time that you've seen, or have you ever heard of instances of an estate remaining open?
We have a couple of estates that have been open for 20 or 30 years.
Is that right? Now, how would that happen?
Well, the way that has happened, that I have found out, is before we adopted the Uniform Probate Code, which was adopted by our legislature in 1987, estates did not sometimes formally close by the court. And so the families will come in now, and we will see that we never issued an order closing the estate because they didn't have necessarily those forms, and maybe there wasn't an order discharging or letters discharging the administrator.
Right.
And so we try to go back to those old estates. They want to come in and do something. You know, we have a lot of people that go through the heirs property where someone died and they never came in and probated the estate. You used to not do deeds of distribution, which you do now. And oftentimes people want those deeds of distribution now. So they may come into an estate that wasn't officially closed or formally closed and want to do something else in that estate. We try to tie those things up and then try to get those estates closed.
Right.
You have a lot of the tobacco allotments that go through estates. And they oftentimes want something from the probate court to determine who the heirs are of this old estate where the person died 30 or 40 years ago. And we try to work those out with the family members.
Fascinating, yes, that would be.
Yeah.
And thinking about the complexity of a large estate and trying to close it up, or but the estate can never operate like, I mean, there must be, as you think, the executor or the personal representative there being able to do things to go, like to essentially act as if the person's still alive. I guess there's certain aspects where they have to do things if there are liabilities out there to help slowly pay them off, or if they're long mortgages or very sizable companies.
We actually have a couple of estates that were large estates, very taxable estates, and they entered into long-term agreements with the Internal Revenue Service to pay the taxes over 10 or 15 years. Those estates have to stay open until they pay those liabilities.
Yes.
Sometimes you will have estates that will enter into agreements like that or need to stay open.
Right.
Because of circumstances such as that.
That is very interesting. We just got about 5 minutes, Deirdre, and I think there's so many things going on in the probate court recently. You all have had some great additions, I believe. You highlighted those. Share with viewers some of the things going on in the probate court.
2 weeks ago, our newest associate judge was sworn in, Dundee Carter. She is an attorney from the area, and she was brought on as a new associate judge. We have another associate judge, Kathy Ward, that has been with the court for many, many years.
Great.
And so now we have some additional help in the probate court with the new associate judge.
Good.
Judge Carter is now there to help us out with a lot of the litigation that is going on in our probate court. We also have a probate court advisory committee that I formed back in January of 2003.
Great. What prompted that?
Well, what prompted that was the need to bring members of the community, members of the local bar, trust officers, people with the Department of Mental Health, Alcohol Commission to help us sit down with the probate court. I don't think I can think of all the good things to do in the probate court.
Right.
And I know there are a lot of people in the community that are interested in the probate court and can bring good ideas to the court to help us make the court better. So I formed an advisory committee in January of 2003.
Right.
And we meet periodically and we talk about what we're doing in the court and how we can make the court better. And the advisory committee is now working on a continuing legal education seminar for the local bar here in Horry County.
Oh, exciting, yes.
Yeah, this will be our first, and it's going to be on June the 1st. And we're going to go for half a day, and we're going to offer CLE credits to the local attorneys. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's going to be an annual event.
I'm sure. You said June 1st. This will only be open to local members of the bar.
It will be, but I guess anybody could register if they wanted to and come learn a little bit more about probate.
A great opportunity, and I'm sure a lot of attorneys really want to hone up their skills, but the public would probably be thrilled. If they were interested in that, they could visit the HorryCounty.org.
They could do that, or they could call the office.
The 915-5370 number. That's great. You know, we think about so many activities that happen, and you've highlighted some of those. What are some of the other things? I noticed involuntary commitments, probably something that a lot of people don't think would go in front of the probate court. What exactly, how does that happen?
You know, just last week they had the awful tragedy at Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
And what was on the news after that, within a couple of days, was the fact that this young gentleman had been committed.
Right.
That is a procedure we do in our probate court. We can commit a person who is mentally ill or has an addiction to alcohol or drugs. And it is through the court proceeding that the family can come in and we can court order a person either for inpatient treatment or for outpatient treatment based on a mental illness or some type of an addiction. And we do that daily.
Is that right?
We are extremely busy in Horry County with commitment procedures. It is terrible. There are so many families affected. It crosses all economic, socioeconomic paths of people. Many people are faced with addictions and they're faced with mental illness. And the probate court is there to try to help the people get treatment for their family member.
Right, right. Marriage licenses also come through you all.
We're extremely busy with marriage licenses. So many people want to come to the beach to get married.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have offered since I became probate judge is we have the application on our website.
Right.
And we allow people to mail in that application and then just come down and pick up the license.
Right.
And we issue anywhere from 250 to 350 marriage licenses a month.
Is that right?
Yes, we do.
Melanie Huggins was with us a couple of weeks ago. It seems like there was something in her office that deals with marriage licenses as well.
Well, she does passports there.
Okay, passports
and so
there, but marriage licenses really come through y'all.
Through the probate court, yes.
That's fascinating, yes. Maybe I was thinking of passports. You know, and there are some great countywide elected officers. We've been blessed over the last, 3 or 4 months. We've had Sheriff Thompson, now yourself, and of course Lois Ergel, and boy, Roddy Dickinson and Melanie Huggins, 5 or 6 of the countywide elected. Do you all get together on a regular basis with folks, peers throughout the state, your other probate court judges around the state?
The probate judges, we have an association, a statewide association that has been in effect for over 50 years.
Right.
And we meet at least twice a year for annual conferences.
Good.
And we do our continuing legal education. And then we also have a staff seminar that the probate judges put on once a year. That will be coming up next month.
Good.
Where I will take most of the probate court staff to Columbia for staff training that's put on by the Probate Judges Association. It is a great networking, and it's a great avenue to see what other counties are doing and make sure that we're trying to work together to make the probate courts better for the state.
That's wonderful, Deirdre. It's so critical to have an idea of what's happening around the state.
Yes.
And what other folks, other countywide elected officers now, and probate court judges are elected in every county statewide.
That's right. That's right. We're the only publicly elected judges in South Carolina. All of the other judges are appointed or elected by our legislature, but we are elected by the residents of our county.
Well, that must be a big challenge in and of itself. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I'll look forward to getting you back another time to talk about what that's like, running for office.
Be happy to.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with the Honorable Deirdre Edmonds coming up next.
Babies are in.
You might have some good questions. They might even be frequently asked questions. Some of those questions are online. I had a will drawn up. What do I do with it? Do I need to file in your office? What are some of the documents I might need to be prepared for probate court down the road? These are great questions. You need to take the time, go online, horrycounty.org/probate court. You can also call the number. You heard Deirdre say it, 843-915-5370. There's probably other questions that aren't online. You need to take the time to call. We didn't have a chance to talk to Deirdre about her husband, Wayman, of almost 17 years now. Their twin daughters, Catherine and Jessie, and their youngest daughter, Aubrey. The excitement there, or their other daughter, Aubrey, the excitement there of being able to be involved not only in the community, serving as Horry County's probate judge, but remaining active with her own family here in Horry County. It's amazing, as she talked about having known her husband Wayman for as long as they have, and their marriage here of 17 years. It really is exciting. If you didn't have the chance to be with us the last 30 minutes, you can meet her online by visiting horrycounty.org.